Imagine moving into a place that promised comfort, safety, and community, only to realize it slowly strips away your freedom, your privacy, and even your sense of self. Nursing homes aren't always what they seem, and before you or someone you love ever signs those papers, there are 5 hidden truths you need to know. The last one may completely change how you think about long-term care forever. The decision seems obvious, responsible even. Fast forward 6 months and you're lying in a narrow bed at 3 a.m., listening to someone crying down the hall, wondering how you ended up in what feels like a prison disguised as paradise. Today, I'm going to share 5 shocking truths about nursing home life that nobody talks about during those glossy facility tours. Truths that might completely change how you think about long-term care for yourself or your loved ones. Subscribe to the channel for more great content with you in mind, and download your free guide from the link in the description below. Before we dive deep into these revelations, let me be clear about something important. This isn't an attack on nursing homes or the dedicated staff who work in them. Many facilities provide essential care and genuine community for residents who need it. But there's a massive gap between the marketing materials and the reality of daily life behind those locked doors, and families deserve to know what they're really signing up for. The first shocking truth that caught me completely off guard was the immediate and devastating loss of personal autonomy. When you move into your own apartment or house, you decide when to eat, what to wear, when to shower, and how to spend your time. In a nursing home, these basic human freedoms become institutional schedules. Breakfast happens at 7:30, whether you're hungry or not. Medications arrive on a cart at predetermined times regardless of how you're feeling. Shower day is Tuesday and Friday, no exceptions. The television in the common room plays what the staff chooses, at the volume they prefer. What makes this loss of control particularly jarring is how it happens gradually, then all at once. During the admission process, families are often told that residents maintain their independence and dignity. The reality is that institutional efficiency takes precedence over individual preferences almost immediately. Want to sleep in because you had a restless night? Too bad. Breakfast service ends at 8:30 and you'll miss your medications. Prefer to eat dinner at 6 instead of 4:30. The kitchen operates on its schedule, not yours. This systematic erosion of choice affects everything from the clothes you wear to the people you can visit with, creating a sense of helplessness that many residents describe as suffocating. The second truth that nobody prepared me for involves the quality and variety of food, which becomes a daily source of disappointment and sometimes genuine health concerns. The marketing materials show appetizing meals served in dignified dining rooms, but the reality is often institutional food that prioritizes cost-effectiveness and dietary restrictions over taste or cultural preferences. Meals are frequently prepared hours in advance, reheated in industrial warmers, and served lukewarm at best. The menu rotates on a predictable cycle, meaning you'll eat the same meals every few weeks for the rest of your life. But it's not just about taste and variety. Many residents lose significant weight after moving in, partly due to depression, but also because the food simply isn't appealing enough to maintain a healthy appetite. Special dietary requests, even for medical reasons, are often met with resistance or inadequate alternatives. If you're diabetic and the sugar-free dessert tastes like cardboard, you just learn to skip dessert forever. If your cultural background includes foods that aren't part of the standard American institutional menu, you basically give up those connections to your heritage. The social aspect of meals, which should be one of the highlights of communal living, often becomes a stark reminder of everything you've lost. The third shocking reality centers around staffing issues that directly impact the quality of care and daily life experience. Nursing homes operate on tight budgets, which means they're consistently understaffed, particularly during evenings and weekends. The certified nursing assistants who provide most of the direct care are often overworked, underpaid, and burning out at alarming rates. This creates a cascade of problems that affect residents in ways families rarely anticipate. When staff members are responsible for 20 or 30 residents during a shift, everything becomes rushed and impersonal. The aide helping you shower isn't being cold or uncaring. They're literally racing against time to complete their assigned tasks before their shift ends. Call lights go unanswered for extended periods, not because staff don't care, but because there simply aren't enough people to respond promptly. This chronic understaffing means that anything beyond basic medical care becomes a luxury. Want help organizing your belongings? Need assistance writing a letter? Looking for someone to just sit and chat for a few minutes? These human needs often go unmet because staff are focused on preventing medical crises and completing required documentation. The fourth truth involves the social dynamics and unexpected isolation that comes with nursing home life. The brochures show groups of friends enjoying activities together, but the reality is often much lonelier. Many residents are dealing with cognitive decline, depression, or physical limitations that make meaningful social connections difficult. The person sitting next to you at meals might not remember your name from day to day, or might be dealing with their own grief about being separated from their former life. Activities programs, while well-intentioned, are often generic and fail to account for the diverse backgrounds and interests of residents. If you were a college professor, sitting through elementary-level craft time feels condescending. If you were an avid gardener, watching someone else tend a small courtyard plot becomes a painful reminder of what you've lost. The social hierarchies that develop can be surprisingly harsh, with more cognitively able residents, sometimes looking down on those with dementia, creating divisions instead of community. Perhaps most isolating is the way relationships with family and friends change. Visitors often feel uncomfortable in the institutional setting and gradually visit less frequently. Phone calls become scheduled events rather than spontaneous conversations. The outside world starts to feel distant and irrelevant while your entire universe shrinks to the boundaries of the facility. The fifth and perhaps most disturbing truth involves what happens when you want to leave or change your situation and discover just how difficult that can become. Many families assume that moving into a nursing home is a irreversible decision, something you can undo if it doesn't work out. The reality is much more complicated and sometimes impossible to navigate. Financial considerations create the first barrier. If you've spent down your assets to qualify for Medicaid coverage, you may no longer have the resources to live independently or move to a different type of facility. Your house might have been sold to pay for care, eliminating your most obvious alternative. The monthly cost of nursing home care, often exceeding $5,000, makes it difficult to save money for other options. Medical considerations create another trap. Once you're classified as needing nursing home level care, insurance companies and Medicare programs become reluctant to approve coverage for lower levels of care, even if your condition improves. The system is designed to move people into higher levels of care, not to help them regain independence. Some residents find themselves caught in a bureaucratic maze where they're too healthy to need intensive nursing care, but too classified as needy to get approval for assisted living or home care services. Legal and family dynamics add additional complications. If family members have made the nursing home decision because they were overwhelmed by caregiving responsibilities, They may resist efforts to return home even if the resident desperately wants to leave. Adult children who felt guilty about their parents' isolation at home sometimes assuage that guilt by convincing themselves that nursing home care is definitively better, making them deaf to complaints or requests for alternatives. So what can families do with this information? First, explore every possible alternative before making the nursing home decision. Home care services, adult day programs, assisted living facilities, and family caregiving support programs have all improved dramatically in recent years. Technology like medical alert systems, medication dispensers, and telemedicine consultations can extend the period when someone can safely live independently. If nursing home care becomes necessary, approach the decision with clear eyes and realistic expectations. Visit facilities multiple times at different times of day and days of the week. Talk to current residents and their families, not just the marketing staff. Ask specific questions about staffing ratios, food preparation, activities programming, and policies around resident autonomy. Understand the financial implications completely, including what happens if you want to leave. Most importantly, maintain strong connections and advocacy even after admission. Regular visits, involvement in care planning, and ongoing communication with staff can significantly improve the experience. Don't assume that institutional care relieves families of responsibility for oversight and emotional support. The goal isn't to scare people away from nursing homes when they're truly needed, but to make sure families understand what they're choosing and can make informed decisions about long-term care. These 5 shocking truths represent challenges that can be partially addressed through better preparation, more realistic expectations, and continued family involvement. The elderly population deserves dignity, respect, and genuine care, whether that happens at home or in an institutional setting. By understanding these realities up front, families can better advocate for their loved ones and make decisions that truly serve their best interests, not just their immediate safety concerns.